most common behavioural problems seen by our pet therapist Peter Neville are in young male dogs and cats, but the most difficult to treat are in old females stuck in their ways. I think somebody's talking about me again. Anyway, let's see how Peter gets on with his latest case. And unusually for Peter this week, it's a parrot that needs his attention. Parrots are bright birds in more ways than one, or so they would have us believe. But as they're more at home in the jungle than in cages, they can often have their problems as pets.
Marilyn, this is Chico. How long have you had him?
10 years now.
10 years. He's quite a friendly sort of fellow, isn't he?
Hello, Chico.
What's his problem?
He's fine with me, but he's not very friendly with anybody else. In fact, he'll bite anybody else. That's one of his problems. The other is that he's jealous continually.
So anyone who takes your attention?
Anybody who takes
on
my
the telephone?
attention. On the telephone,
Yeah.
or even if I'm talking to somebody else, particularly if I go walk out the room and talking to somebody else. If, like now, I'm talking to you and he's interrupting. If I was in the house on my own, no telephone, absolutely fine.
Right.
But if the telephone rings, he'll screech and screech and screech until I come off the phone. So he wants my attention.
Right.
It's okay now because he thinks talking to him. But I'm not allowed to talk to you. And if I was to walk out of the room with you now, he would really get upset.
So what we really have is an Amazonian parrot who's used to living in huge great flocks, marauding across the jungle, whose opportunity now to experience novelty, social contact, and to resolve frustrations are largely centred around you.
Yes.
And that there isn't really much else in his life except whether he's got access to you. If he doesn't have access to you, he gets cross.
He gets upset with me,
Right.
Yeah, he makes it known to me he's not happy.
But we can do our best to make his life, in fact, a little bit more frustrating, that he has more problems to overcome than at present. And hopefully that would really diversify his interests a bit. And obviously a bigger area and a more complicated area with a little bit more work to do would go a long way towards improving his well-being and take him off these obsessions with you. One of the things we can do now we have a bigger environment is to make it more complex, to introduce little bits of frustration. And one of the best ways to do that is to do away with the food bowl completely. Parrots, dogs, cats just sit at their food bowls, eat what they need in a very short space of time, and then they don't know what to do with the rest of their day, when in fact, of course, they're designed to go foraging or go hunting. So instead, we take his little bits of food, his sunflower seeds in this case, and you can spend an evening in front of the telly every evening just jamming them into something like this as a rope toy for dogs. And when it's nice and full, every day you can come out and pin them up various parts around his new fly zone, and he'll have to go from zone to zone to find his food. And this mimics much more what he'd have to do in the jungle. And finally, perhaps a little bit of occupational therapy, which I know you'll know about from training the dogs, which is this idea of click and treat training, where we associate the sound of the clicker with the getting of something very important, so the feeling of well-being that he has when he gets something exciting. And once he's paired the arrival of that good thing with the sound of the click, we can start to reduce the frequency that we give him the good thing, and he'll start to work a little bit. And as he experiments with new behaviours, perhaps walking down your arm or climbing up a pole that you put up for him to climb, we can click him for carrying out a sequence of behaviours before he gets that click to say that he's got it right. And who knows, you may even get him going around a little parrot agility course. And you should be able to teach him a whole sequence of flying from one area to one pole to another hanging thing. Yeah. And do a whole little sort of agility circuit, in fact, before he gets his click. And again, the idea is to try and mimic the level of activity and the complexity that his life would be in the jungle.
That'd be brilliant.
I think you have a lot of fun.
Time now to take a look at some of your letters to us. Peter, a photograph there of a dear little hamster, except he's not really dear at all. It comes from Karen O'Toole from Evercreech, and she says, "This year I bought a hamster for my daughter Jane. He seemed fine at first, but now he started nipping her when she tries to hold him. This behaviour seems to be getting worse. Even if she wears gloves to handle him, he seems to have an extraordinary knack of finding the exposed skin on the wrist and sinking his teeth in."
Oh, I sympathise so much. Hamsters always used to bite me until I discovered the trick, which is the toilet roll. Because little hamsters are sitting on the bottom of their cage and suddenly this great big paw comes down and whisks them off, they get a little bit frightened. Whereas if you lower this into the bottom, they can trot in there, you can lift them up nice and supported, and then just tip gently so they can walk out onto your hand. Whole thing much less traumatic. Once they get there, the famous behaviourist biscuit, so that being on your hand is associated with something pleasant.
Not biting you instead.
Not biting. Whole thing much less excitable.
Right, and another photograph, a lovely looking dog. Gemma Rag has written into us from Radstock. That's the doggy there. My dog Fluke has taken a dislike to my newly decorated living room. We've recently repainted the room and put in a new 3-piece suite. However, Fluke seems jumpy in the room and for some reason won't go near the main shelving unit, which isn't even new. On more than one occasion he's actually started barking at it. He keeps jumping at it and then running away. Is that a sort of game?
Yeah, I think what's happened here is that the dog's come into a room that's been changed. There's new furniture, new decoration, and he's got a little bit excited. He's barked, maybe jumped around, investigated. And the owners, instead of calming him down, when they paid him some attention, have reinforced that excitable state. And he's learned to use it now. I suspect he's going up to the shelves and going woof, 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 and they say, well, stop it. And that's better than him being ignored. Watching the television, for example. So I think we've got a little bit of a manipulative dog. So the way through this now is to just behave completely offhand about the whole thing, ignore the dog if he's excitable, and just sit down and watch the television, do whatever it is you're going to do. And if he really tries harder and persists, you just get up and leave the room. In other words, the value of the shelves to him is removed.
It's not something on the shelf that he sees that he wants or is frightened of.
No, I think he's just training his owners to give him the attention that he needs.
Maybe he doesn't like the colour of the room or something.
It could be.
Peter, thank you very much for your expert advice. Keep
Thank
those
you.
letters coming in. Peter will be with us again next week, and we hope that you'll join us as well. Until then, bye-bye.